What it do? Welcome back to the show. Oh my god, I'm yelling. Who gives a fuck, man? It's fucking VJ.
What up, guys?
So what's up? Hello, and welcome back to Trash Trades.
You in here?
Yeah, I mean, I came in sounding crazy because, I was just trying to bring the energy because Luca did it again. He has another reverse banger ready to show us, guys, and it sucks, man. We feel the pain. He feels the pain. Actually, he was telling me the other day he doesn't feel pain about losing anymore. And then we got into it because I was like, I think you need to feel the pain. And then he's like, no. And we pretty much left it on that. But anyway, Luca, how you been doing, brother? How's the weekend?
I haven't been doing too well. Trading wise, I think. I think honestly, it's not like I'm doing particularly bad or bad like I have in the past. It's just a little disappointing. And it kind of reflects on this trade. This is a great trade. Because there's a lot of things I did wrong. This was actually the trade I took last. We're recording this on a Sunday. This was on Wednesday. I didn't trade Thursday. Didn't trade Friday. I'm going to start paper trading for the next 2 weeks.
Beautiful.
But you guys don't worry, man. I got so many trash trades. I got a bank full of trash trades. So, it's going to be all the trash trades you guys are going to see from me are going to be real money. Shit, stakes on the line. No problem. Because I take a lot of trades and they're all trash, unfortunately. That's the truth.
Yo, question. You said stakes and money on the line, and I was about to ask you, first of all, maybe you should paper trade longer, and then you don't think that bad paper trades shouldn't make it on the show?
I think they should. I don't think there's a problem with paper trades being particularly trash trades because, of course, you're gonna learn, as you do in paper trading. I just think it's another I'd say it's more trusting to the viewers that we put our money where our mouth is. Honestly, that's up for the viewers to decide. If you want to, a little comment in there. You never know. Let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I agree with your point, but I also think, we took a break because you needed a little bit of a break. Because when we started the show, as important as this show is to us, and hopefully, anyone listening, the show is of importance, great importance to us. It's like one of the pillars of my life, essentially. But it is come secondary to trading. And so
Absolutely.
if for your trading benefit, you have to take paper trades for an extended amount of time as you reevaluate your trading and get very confident in your edge again, per Tom's advice, which I highly agree with. I don't think 2 weeks is enough. I think that you're going to have to, you don't know the amount of time. It could be a month, maybe even 2 months before you're like, yeah, I'm fine. Remember earlier I was just telling you about the 2 losses I took on Friday and how I was just like, yeah, I'm done. And then I took 2 mental trades and they were huge wins. And I was like, yeah, that happens. But the feeling that I had about not giving a fuck, the feeling that I had about stopping and which account I was trading on that Friday and how it was already an account I didn't care about, was going sort of light. And I still was like, we're not practicing bad habits. So once that happened, I was like, yeah, we're just done. And the thing is, the way that I had the confidence on saying, oh, we're done is because I have, back tested my strategy and gathered the data, and I live tape read / take mental trades and take real trades as well. And I learned from them all, and I gather more data on them, and then you just get more confident to just know, oh yeah, you take some losses or whatever. So I would just say that if you have to go for a little bit longer time, that you can still learn off of your paper trades, and they are qualified to be in here. Because if that's what you need to do for your development, and we could absolutely. I mean, it's not like anyone, first of all, would even know. If we're just being super honest. And number 2 is if you trading, that's the thing that I think is one of the main things what Tom was saying Shout out to Tom,
Shout out, Tom.
guest on the previous guest on the show. Check that episode out.
Absolutely.
What he's saying is like you want to trade those paper trades exactly like how you're trading for real. And so when he was saying like you're having a different feeling when you do them, and you're expecting to lose rather than expecting the trade to do whatever. Like if you were expecting nothing, that's more appropriate than expecting to lose. Expecting to lose is probably as much of a mistake as expecting to win. You want to be ready to lose and ready to win,
Yeah,
and you
I think
execute in the framework.
it's really interesting because I don't think I'm trading particularly bad. I've definitely traded worse previously. It's just more of small losses, but pretty consistent. And
Yeah,
I'm not blowing. I'm not being super whatever emotional, whatever. It's just when I place a trade, and I set my parameters. I have seen it stop me out very often. And I am not expecting it to do any different. So I'm sort of in a mood of where I won't be protective on my trade or protective on my decision making because I already sort of know the result that's coming. And that's something that I've had to reflect. Of course, we talked to the homies. Shout out Andy and Tom, but Tom made a fantastic point, which was to move to paper trading. I had to really get that strategy edged down. And when when I'm proven to be very profitable paper trading, then I can sort of move towards normal, money, and then I can assess myself and assess how I change, etc. Which I think
yeah,
it's very necessary, and that's what I'm gonna do. You definitely check out that episode. It's you'll see it. I think it's episode uh I I'm not sure off the top of my head, but it's an episode with Tom. Tom is a fantastic trader, profitable. He's a young guy, very nice. And yeah, he's helping me through. I'm definitely going to be following up with him, of course. And we're gonna see what it takes us. I'm down for anything.
yeah, absolutely, my man. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you're doing it. Don't limit yourself to 2 weeks if you have to, and especially if you think that we need it for the show. We don't. You know,
Yeah. No,
I'm
absolutely,
pretty sure that any trade idea that you think about taking, that you would map out if it failed or it's not, like there's something to learn from,
absolutely,
and there's no
100%.
need to mess up your development for the show, as important as it is to us, and as much as integrity and money on the line that we want to keep while we're here, so we can talk about our emotions and what was on the stake more.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, in order to trade, you don't even want to think about what's at stake. So it should seem like a paper trade anyway, And
Absolutely.
like Andy was even saying that the other day. He was saying that he's like, there's a common misconception that people don't feel anything when you paper trade. He's like, why? He's like, it didn't work out for you, and you were going to put money on the line. You could have lost. And to be honest, and I told you this very early on, that I was like, man, paper trades, like I do get emotional about them. Like in my first couple months, I was like, I do feel an emotion. And to be honest, I still do. But now what I feel when I trade into that are about the same. Just like, I guess I was wrong. What did I mess up? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
classic.
Definitely.
And like that disappointment is sort of what drives me, like the pain. And then especially when you're like consistently wrong, there's like a certain type of pain where you're like, what the fuck? Like, what's even the fucking, and they're just like, that's the thing that really fucking pushes me to do it right. Because at least when I do it right, like I feel good. When I do it wrong, like sure I could take the loss, and then I just feel like absolute shit.
Yeah.
So get through that, and
I
you'll be
think
fine. It's fine.
there's definitely some aspect of me caring. I think I've gotten to the point where paper trading and normal trading, they're sort of the same. It's the same sort of attitude, same sort of anything. But I really like, what's the point of unprofitably trading real money if it's the same of
Yeah,
paper and it's the same experience, the same learning process, etc. So obviously yeah,
exactly.
that's definitely going to be the path I'm going to be going. And you know what? I would absolutely love to hear something that happened to you guys. You know, if you guys are trading paper now, or if you guys just switched from paper to real money, and you know how you guys are feeling.
Yeah.
If you guys can comment below, absolutely, we'd love to talk to you guys. Even in DMs, you know, me and VJ, we're always open, we're always here. If you want to hit us up on
Thanks.
social, any questions or whatever, absolutely, we'd love to talk to you guys.
Super facts. And before we go any further, roll the intro.
Order filled.
Oh, incredible segue.
Ah, man.
I felt it.
Jesus Christ.
The chemistry. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna go into it.
I thought you might like it.
Yeah, I think it was great.
I thought you might like it.
I think it was great.
I myself too. I hope the audience liked it too.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
All right, let's see what we got going here.
Anyway, this is a very bad trade on my part. This was lousy entry, lousy stop placement, lousy everything. This is I'll just go through the overall day. We were sort of
what do we trade? What are we trading here? Is this QQQ?
This is the Nasdaq on Wednesday the 20th, and we sort of moved up in after hours after creating these equal lows. So as you guys know, we're SMC traders, so we're always going to target those lows as liquidity for the price to move down into. So we sort of traded by sweeping up above this high and then sort of going sideways, sort of respecting the 618 here, respecting the 618 here, and I wanted to sort of do the same before we get a movement down into these equal lows. And I wasn't really looking for the whole move, to be honest. I just wanted this low, and I'd be happy. I didn't want to overstay my welcome and trade all the way down here. So I had more of a setup in place where I would, look about going for a short entry because my daily bias was down. And that I'm pretty sure that was the same with my 12-hour bias. So I was looking for an entry here, and I sort of made an excuse, as all traders do. We all make excuses. But I decided to go for a super lower time frame 618 entry. Right? I didn't want it to go without me. So I entered, and I had a pretty wide stop loss because then again, you're going to see this 618 that is right here in discount, and this high right here in 618. And if you guys know me, you guys have been watching for a while, you know that they're the areas I try to target. I draw a high and low from a fib, and inside the 618 area I would look for a previous high to be swept. So I took my entry on a lower time frame. I should have been patient for those higher time frame 618. It'll just.
By the way, can I?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask what time? Can I ask?
This is on the minute.
What time? No.
This
what
is.
What time it was in the day?
11:50 a.m.
Okay.
So I was trading a little early today. And yeah, I was. This was not the best. I knew it was sort of going to be dragged into lunch, etc. But I took this trade anyway. Not a good day for price action. This is price that I don't really like. And before we get into the trade, another thing that I just want to make clear before I explain my entry is that when you see these days where they're very choppy, they're not really directional, they're not trading with a lot of liquidity, they're not fluid. These markets that are really choppy, just go up and down and sideways all day, they're not good environments to trade. And this was a day where I saw the market, I decided I did not like the trading environment, and I took a trade anyway. And that's not the market's fault for being priced in that way. There's no problem with the market having a choppy day. It's about you and whether or not you want to trade that. Unfortunately, in this example, I did. So I decided it was a bad day, and I took this trade anyway. I took a lousy entry, big stop. So of course you're gonna kind of get the gist of my mentality during this trade. And this was quite a while. I held this trade for hours plus. This trade started with a sharp movement up. Right, we started sweeping those highs. We started getting to that 618 entry. This should have been my entry right here, as it follows. Into my strategy, but I didn't. So I moved my stop up above this 786, I had a breaker block that was in my direction as well that we were projecting off of. So I was sort of expecting this to be a movement down. And the truth is, I got it, right? We had quite a movement down into profit. I was quite happy with my profit, in fact. Um, and we sort of swept this low. I still didn't move my stop, take any profits, etc. This was more of another mentality of I'm not trying to, secure my risk. I'm not trying to take money off the table. I'm just trying to, let the parameters of my trade play out. If it hits the stop, it hits the stop. Hit the price target, it hits the price target. So I held this trade.
Yeah.
I took nothing off the table, and we got quite a movement back upwards from that stage. Again, receiving in the same area, which I wouldn't like, but again, I'm still in those parameters, and I'm still looking for a trade. And again, we got quite a movement down. I was still in profit. There was absolutely time for me to change my mind or to cut the trade, etc. And then we got to a point like right here where we were chopping quite heavily. And I still held. I think it was pretty obvious that I could have made a more informed decision and cut my position a little early, but I did not, and I got stopped out. And this trade spanned from 11:50 to 12:59, so around an hour and 9 minutes. I was in this trade, and it's more about my whole thought process towards the trade. I'm gonna give VJ the floor a little bit here just to break down if I can make anything clear. But this was a trade that I think I got a lot to say, but I'm just gonna let VJ's analysis sort of break it down before I do. VJ, what do you think?
Okay. So this is Friday. I feel you on all of this. It was a bad time to trade. I like what you did with holding for your parameters. You didn't trim or get out of your position early because you didn't have a plan to.
Yeah.
Remember the story that I told you about how on Friday, my side account, I took some losers and I stopped, and then the price got much better later on.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure my losers were sort of in this same area, and that I'd entered higher up in the OTEs expecting something else to happen. And I think if you play out the price, it goes a little bit higher, doesn't it?
No.
Oh,
This
it
hit.
does. Oh, so it eventually comes down.
Yeah, this hits my price targets, ironically. But
Got you. Yeah. So that's exactly. Yeah. That is what happened though. So I
yes.
ended up getting stopped out, doing some stuff in there, and then like right after the price just got better. And if you just sort of zoom out and you look at the price, go to the morning session. Okay. Morning session. No, that's out. That is. Wait, what is that big move? Is that pre-morning
That
or
is
right in the morning?
9:30, from 9:30
Right.
to 10 around.
And then look at pre 9:30 as well. So you can see like okay, there's some like decent movement. It moves up. It sort of retraces and then it sweeps that and then it reverses. And then it reverses and goes to no like over there and then like at 9:30 it goes up, resweeps everything, and then just comes down, right? These are like pretty big moves compared to all that choppiness and then that move up that it tries to do, and then all that choppiness again. So you can sort of tell like it's just like sort of not pricing like how it was before.
Absolutely,
And then
100%.
when it tries to do this other stuff, it's not really breaking up above or below highs or lows, the major ones on the outside of the range. So there isn't a clear sweep or a clear direction. So then usually trading this is sort of death. And
Yeah.
that's why when I took those trades, I was like, yeah, these are much lower quality. I went whatever, even though I waited for like this certain whatever, I just ended up would get like a trim or nothing off because I was also waiting for those, and then it just wouldn't happen. And
Yes.
all it's doing in those things is like it's inviting traders like us to get in there and build liquidity, where maybe they put it on the outside edges, long shorts, and then They put their stops on the outside edges, and then they sort of all get run when the price decides to start moving around again. And that's why it's very important. We've talked about this multiple times, honestly, this week, but it's very important to pay attention to the session that you're in and the sessions before and how they were pricing. Because if you could see that a session before had some very clean pricing, directional pricing, and then you're jumping in the session after, um, the algo is not going to necessarily price as cleanly. They're going to want to consolidate and chop people up and build up stops, and then really get to um, like maximize the amount of damage and money that they can build up and then run it later, because everyone sort of is in a place of like mini FOMO after a large expansion or nice moves. And so you can almost look at the previous session, then look at the session that you're in and be like, which one would I rather trade? And if it was the previous session, you should stop,
Yeah.
especially if you took some losses, and just come back for the next session. And if you notice, when did that drop happen? Right around 1:30 ish.
1 o'clock was its high,
1:32
and
ish.
then it continued down right for 1:30 basically.
Right, and then 1:30 is like the start of the afternoon session. 2 o'clock is the start of the 4 o'clock candle, and you can already see look at the prices getting
Yeah.
better.
And then we had
Oh wait, no, that's
FMC. Yeah.
oh shit. You know what? This was a different day,
Yeah,
so I
Wednesday.
wasn't trading on this. No, yeah, I thought. Okay, yeah. So I got I was doing something sort of like this on Friday,
I
so I
gotcha.
wasn't in this. You know what I'm saying? I'd actually waited till after FOMC to take more trades. I was thinking. So okay. So I misspoke about me being in that, but like you could just tell from the session before. Also, trading the session pre FOMC is classic chop up. So now
Yes.
that I realize this, you're trading death pretty much
And
at
I,
a
I,
much
I
lower
think
chance.
it was a bit of everything. But I think the main part, the main absolute staple, before I actually made these entry mistakes and then these average down mistakes, etc., was I looked at the market today very rationally. Before I traded, I looked at the market. I said, I don't think that my model would be adequate for today. I think today's a little choppy. I know we have FOMC, etc. And even though we had these big red folder news, and we saw all this chop and this very low liquidity price action, excuse me, I traded anyway. And I think that was the step one into that losing trade. And then it was another mixture of a lot of things when I decided to trade, because then I had a bad entry, then I had a bad stop, I had a bad risk to reward. I started, not being secure with my actual trade and not taking profits off the table. And I had a not a adequate trade plan for the day. If it was super choppy, then I should be taking profits. I should be a lot more passive with my take profits. But I decided not to do that. And I think that's a big staple to other traders, because everyone will trade that day and then blame it on the price action. Everybody would do that. We know everyone. A lot of retail traders out there will absolutely do that. And it's on you. It's not on the market. It's on you, because you willingly traded that day. You could have thrown the towel. You could have just decided to put it off for tomorrow or whatever. But you didn't. And I think that's a big thing. A lot of people, they like to blame the market and not take the blame. It's really about you, whether or not you are allowing these bad price actions to affect your port, and whether or not your model will actually play out on that day. And I think that's really a good key take, as well as the failed entries and etc.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it was not pre FOMC and it was a good session, the good idea and the bad execution would have had a higher chance of playing out. You
Yeah,
know,
and then I
the pre
think
FOMC sort of just shows like, because I think that what I'm saying, like pre like those type of news events, it's going to chop around and build
oh,
liquidity.
absolutely.
So then it's almost always the worst to trade right before.
Yep.
or the session before often. So
Yeah.
you in a way, like it's sort of telling on like what you were thinking mentally, like, okay, let me just get some money real fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then like we could just do something later, maybe after FOMC. You're probably thinking something like that. And whenever I think stuff like that, oh man, it just follows by a loss. Like that's not trading can be simple. The simpler the better. But if you just are like, yeah, I'm just gonna go in and get this like real quick slick money before because I know what it's gonna do, even though it's not a good time. Oh man,
That's a problem.
death for me. Yeah, it's a
Absolutely.
problem.
And it's more of the making the excuses as well. I think a lot of traders they've been trading for a while or whatever, however many months or years, etc. And they look at the market as more of a objective. You know, today I don't care about the price, I don't care about the setup. I need to make X amount of money. I need to do this or I
Right,
need to
right.
do whatever. It really is dependent on the price and whether or not your model will actually play out on that day. I think that's the number one thing. As long you can do your pre-trade analysis, like your higher time frame analysis, look on the higher time frame candles, the 12, the daily, etc. But it's really down to what is the lower time price action actually saying, because if it's not directional, if you know there's red folder news, if you know that there's no liquidity and it's likely just to continue and chop passively throughout the day, I think it's best to stay out. And for us traders, you know, we're looking, we need the volume, we need the liquidity, we need the big movements. Unfortunately, in days like these, it's such a good idea to throw the towel and just to decide, you know what, I'll trade tomorrow. And this is a great example of how a lot of traders, they just like to trade and blame the price action. Um,
Facts.
and yeah,
So true.
yeah, I think you know, overall, I think that this was a well learned lesson. I definitely am going to be, like we said in the intro, I definitely am going to be trading a lot on paper and still recording my trades, etc. Just for I can have and I can review. But it's really all about reviewing your trades. I wouldn't have known that this was a really bad trade unless I reviewed it after. You know, in the moment, you definitely think completely differently. When it comes to trading and it comes to putting on positions, you don't know you're doing wrong until you revisit it afterwards. So it's definitely very important
Absolutely.
to revisit your trades. And
Yeah,
yeah,
journal them, backtest them, even ones that are paper trader as in real, like we were talking about before. When you look back at a trade and you realize you lost it, you'll sort of look at it from a different thing, be like, hopefully, where did
oh
I make a mistake? And then it can sort of reveal some stuff about you. Like many times when I take a loss, I realize even just like last week, but I realized it before, like I need to be quicker to understand what I missed. And then like many times if I like as I take a loss, the other side setup is occurring
yep,
and occurs like a few times. And I just am like in an emotional place because I lost rather than like, what's it actually doing? Oh, okay. It looked like it did sweep, but now it's resweeping here. Oh, this is likely I was more 50-50 on the move, but now that this is
yeah,
sort of confirmed this way, it's likely to do this. And then instead you're just like sort of like, what? And like the more data you have, the less in of a daze you are because you sort of realize like you have an edge, but also your edge sometimes just leads to some losers
mm-hmm,
and sometimes will lead to some losers in a row. That's why I implore you to finish at least having the 100 trials so that you can see it. Because, like, let's say through the 100 trials, you kept up like that 55% win rate with the 1.8 to like 2R, right? So you'd be highly profitable. But that also means, you know, how you were describing your trading, like, oh, yeah, consistent losers.
yeah,
Well, there'll be times where you're going to feel like that until you have the data. Because
absolutely,
if let's say you're 50%, you know, you're more likely to go through like a 7 or 10 trade losing streak if you do everything right in just like a normal, 100 trade span.
mm-hmm,
That can happen. I don't know what exactly the math is, but like, the higher your win rate is, the less that happens, but that still can happen. And
absolutely,
so you'll go through streaks of losers even when you're doing everything perfectly right. Now, if you start doing a couple things that are wrong, then now you add sort of that little variable. Remember, I blew some accounts like real slow. That's because at the beginning of that streak, I was doing dumb shit, and then by the end, I was just in a normal losing streak.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it ran it out. Now, if I was just in the normal losing streak, by the time it sort of turned around, I'd already compounded my errors by the extra real errors that I was doing, not just like, oh yeah, this is a losing trade, or maybe I had the bias wrong,
Yep,
that type of stuff. So
exactly. Yeah, and that's again, I feel like more of the message for this episode is really to back test and gather your data for your model, your strategy. Don't be going into the markets based off of instinction, whatever you see. Back test the specific trades, the specific setup and strategy, and then again, you have to be reviewing your trades. That's really the bread and butter to actually learning and progressing. As a trader, is you really have to be going back and reviewing what you saw and what you actually acted on. And I think, I think it's this trade in particular is a great example because I was not sticking to a strategy. I was not sticking to the red folder news and the actual likelihood of my strategy playing out. And you get bitten in the ass, all right, and it'll happen. And yeah, I think it was a good episode to review it. Any last words, VJ?
nah, man, great trash trade. I think
Absolutely.
it was like a perfect example of everything we were talking about before. Actually, shockingly, in a
Yeah,
way,
yeah, 100%.
very nice.
And
Yeah, very nice.
listen, guys, absolutely. If you guys want to support the channel, we should have a link in the bio on TopStep
Yep.
B-Bells. There should be a little discount for you guys if you guys want to, trade some futures and check out on how the futures market works and how we trade those. There's a link in that bio, and that's the same with all the socials. If you want to hit us up and DM us on socials, or you want to watch our clips and our short reels and etc., it's all there in the bio. So yeah, we appreciate you guys. If you hit the subscribe or comment or whatever, we love you and we'll give you a kiss, a guaranteed kiss from BJ if you guys do one of those things.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys so much just for listening and
Absolutely.
liking, subscribing, sharing, clicking the link, using it,
Click
fucking
it.
blowing some accounts with us, fucking making some payouts with us, whatever is much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
All right, bye bye.